Hello then, welcome here at Professor Herman Manyora's channel. My name is Simon Irungu, coming in with the big question. And before we go to the question for today, Richard was reminding me before the start of the show that the Nairobi Review is open for people with also business articles.
Yeah, writing
Not
business
only,
articles.
Not only something to do with Raila and Ruto and
even
Mudavadi.
matters of the economy, because we cannot survive on politics alone. Let them write their articles on the economy, on business, and take them to Nairobi Review limited@gmail.com. If you want to see how the website is performing, you go to nairobireview.africa.
Okay.
Type in Google and you'll get it.
Okay. Okay. With just a few months to the general election, political heat is rising every day. Okay. And we can see that the president and the DP have put away their gloves, and right now it's a fist fight with bare knuckles, and they're exchanging words indirectly. What do you make of this, sir? Okay, we might continue from the video that you did on Saturday.
Yes.
Okay, let's proceed.
I think it's not even indirectly. They are now is bare knuckle, like you say, and they are hitting. There are no gloves.
Okay.
It's direct.
And how dangerous is it heading? Are you surprised?
Well, there are many people who don't seem to like it. They say, because these are the two most senior leaders we have in the country, the president and his deputy.
Okay.
They must be decorum. They could differ in opinion, but let it not spill over into public rallies.
Okay.
They should respect the people they lead by using respectful language.
Okay, are we maybe headed to be sailing in the same ship as South Sudan, where Riek Machar, the deputy, had a difference with the president, Salva Kiir?
You know that I did an article, I think, the other day, and say, you see, that there was a different arrangement in Sudan, South Sudan.
Okay.
This is not the same. The deputy president is a mere spare wheel.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not a co-president. There are no powers. Riek Machar had certain powers. Okay. But this is just a principal assistant who can only step in when something happens that the president is not president anymore. Once you know that, there should be no difference between Uhuru and Kenyatta.
In the video,
and if any really exists, then the deputy must resign, which he has refused to do.
And you always say that we should be expecting that the DP should resign, and it has not happened. Should he have resigned, maybe?
Yes. That is how serious people behave. When there are differences between you and somebody, you serve. You leave. There are no two ways about it. You just leave. But if it is a government you co-own, you can stick there.
Because you have,
like Uhuru and like Kibaki and Raila. You look at the coalition government. It was power sharing between Raila and Kibaki. That is different. But if you are somebody's deputy, you are a mere spare wheel. I want people to understand this. Okay,
the DP resigning, wouldn't have this been something that is going to affect him in the upcoming election?
Maybe that's what he thought. But to me, he would have come out stronger. That you can differ with somebody and opt out of his government. In principle,
okay,
you show the kind of man you are, that I can no longer work with you. Because the dream we had, you are going against everything we thought we would be doing for the people of this country. So I can't longer travel with you in the same bus.
And the difference between the two people, yes, who do we blame it on?
Politics.
Okay.
Yes, just politics.
Okay. Can't you say maybe the cause of
I saw somebody saying, even if Raila did not come on board, I don't know who that was. Somebody is quoted as saying, even if Raila didn't come on board, I think it's Keter. Even if Raila didn't come on board, Uhuru and Ruto are always going to differ.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there are claims that the friction between the two started way back in their first term, and that let's say maybe the naming of the cabinet secretaries, is it something that maybe was bound to happen, but they hid it behind masks?
Let me tell you for a fact, Uhuru never had the intention of handing anything to Ruto from the word go.
Okay.
It's like in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, where three people are getting the presidency, the power to run Rome, the second triumvirate. And the two of them sit and say, like a donkey that has helped you to deliver gold in the house, in the home, you send it to go and graze, okay, as you share the gold. So Mark Antony and and Octavia are meant to share the gold, and the other guy, Lepidus, goes away like a donkey. You know, a donkey, you put a donkey, it carries gold for you.
Okay.
Lakini ukifika nyumbani,
You take
si
the
nenda
gold.
kula nyasi na wewe unabaki na gold.
Yeah.
So I think that's what Uhuru had with Ruto. And everybody knew it anyway. It to me never came as a surprise. So he only tolerated Ruto because he needed a second term. And from what we hear, Ruto really gave him a hard time,
Okay.
demanding to be treated like a co-president.
And
The naming of cabinet and what have you. So Uhuru had to accept and play along because he needed a second term.
Okay. So Uhuru was not planning on handing over.
I don't think.
Did Ruto know that?
I also suspected.
Why did he play along?
I also suspect Ruto knew. Well, a lot of people I talked to who come from Ruto's place, in fact, some of them close associates,
Okay.
they told me, we know that. We know this guy will never return the hand, but we want to be in for what we can get the 5 years or so, or 10 years. And then tutajipanga wenyewe baadaye.
Okay.
And that's why Ruto came out fighting to be president, knowing very well there's nowhere in the books where Uhuru had written his name. He knew there's no time Uhuru would support him. So he had to do it on his own, and I don't blame him.
Okay, there is a Swahili proverb that says fahali wawili wakipigana nyasi huumia.
No.
Okay, the fight between the two, is it going to affect the citizen? Is it going to affect the political field?
No doubt, we can say Uhuru has performed, and indeed he has performed in his own way. But whenever there is friction, whenever there are differences in a home, something must give way.
Okay.
You sacrifice on a few things. And things would have been better if the two are working together.
And how dangerous can the consequences be on the political field?
The danger here is things can get out of control. We've never been in a situation like this before, where government is fighting between itself. One person is leaving government with a sizable number. Oh, but I sympathize with Ruto, before I forget. Super Tuesday never happened, like people are saying on social media. We had hoped people would leave this government en masse, but they didn't, going to UDA. So I think it's also... So when two members of the same government are fighting, it could be dangerous to a country, because each of them knows something. Ruto has state secrets. You see? He can use some of the things he knows. He knows things about the president. He can say some of these things. The president knows things about Ruto. In the heat of the argument, yeah, and this open fighting, people can speak out of turn, and it can get ugly.
And
that's the only danger.
Might that be the reason why the president before used to attack, attacked Ruto generally, like saying how, wow, was that maybe the reason?
Yeah.
He didn't go direct.
Even the president has to be careful what he says about Ruto, because they too know things about him.
Okay.
I suspect. And they can bring them in the open. And it can get ugly. Maybe messy, like Wetangula said, and noisy. But, like I've said, I think we only wish to advise them. These are the two top leaders we have. Whenever there are differences, they should not be escalated to a level where citizens begin to wonder, are these really our leaders? So the president must play his politics as he supports Raila, but with decorum, knowing he's still the president of the Republic of Kenya. What comes from him should be that which we should expect from a president.
Okay.
William Ruto, on his part, is actually walking a minefield. Yeah. The more he answers Uhuru, the more he loses. It is deliberate. I have repeated this. By now, I expect they should have called me to give me something small, because I've been advising them for free. It is deliberate to draw Ruto into an engagement with the president, to say the things he's saying about Uhuru, tapeli, sijui what. Those things are intended that he says, and they have consequences. Every time he says something about Uhuru Kenyatta, against Uhuru Kenyatta, he loses a few votes. Okay. And I can assure you, if Ruto does not check himself in matters of answering the president directly, and actually insulting the president, he will be lucky to come out with 50% of the mountain vote. Very lucky.
I think the DP should put something in your pocket.
Yes, because I'm giving free advice. Why can't he say Farouk? Shouldn't send a man called Farouk to me?
Okay, now we have the DPs taking claims that the Jubilee achievements he should also maybe get the praises that are coming with the achievements. You know, he said that Jubilee was a joint project between him and the president.
Yes.
Do you think maybe the claims are true? That he
There's
should also
nothing. There
maybe
is nothing
get.
like that. There's nothing like that. There's only one president in the Republic of Kenya.
Okay.
For now, it's Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta.
And he's saying that they had an equal contribution. Is that so?
No.
With people also,
No.
some people also arguing that
No.
maybe the difference between the
Even
first
in
and the
terms of
second term.
votes, just how much? If you know we are a tribal country,
Okay.
if Jubilee got say 7 million votes, how much of that is from Ruto? If we go by tribe, how many Kalenjin votes do we have? Rift Valley has 5 point something million votes, but Rift Valley is not Kalenjin. Actually, main votes from Kalenjins were Singishu, Nandi, and Kericho. Those are the votes. Count how many they are. The rest are just sprinklings, and others are Raila zones. Others they share.
Okay.
So you go to Masai, that's not Kalenjin. You find it was 50-50 last election. It is still the same. Raila is dominating Narok. Ruto is having an upper hand, I think, in Nana. They are 50-50 in Kajiado.
Okay.
Narok Raila is high. West Pokot is Raila. Turkana is Raila. So apart from those heavy South Rift and North Rift counties. So how many votes did he deliver to Uhuru? You know, Uhuru can also get annoyed. I tell him, let us count the votes. How many do you bring?
Maybe
They are not that
good
many,
number.
but they were important.
Okay.
And I argued in my video last time. If Uhuru had picked Mudavadi with the slogan, let's do it again. Let's do it.
Again.
Because they did it in 2002. Let's do it again. Let's go together again. Mudavadi would have brought more votes than Ruto.
Right now.
Of course, Ruto brought more energy.
Okay.
But in terms of the numbers, there was also every possibility, and I think Ruto doesn't understand. There was every possibility Uhuru could have worked with Raila.
But there are claims saying that Ruto was the fuel to the campaigns of Uhuru.
I'm saying the energy he brought, but I'm saying this also, that supposing in 2012, Uhuru decided to work with Raila.
Okay.
And say, okay, we shall make it a public document that you are go for one term. Then I take over.
Okay.
It's public. There would have been no election in 2012, 2013.
Okay. The DP further went ahead and said that that Uhuru has failed to achieve the Big Four agenda that he promised, that he's the right guy to finish the job. Do you think that is true?
If we go by Uhuru's own words,
Okay.
he has achieved more in the second term than he achieved in the first term.
Okay.
If you go by what you are seeing also, you see there's more in the second term than first term. If you go by theft of public property in terms of corruption, there was more in the first term than second term. So I don't think Ruto is right to say that nothing has been achieved and that a lot would have been achieved if he was still running the show. It also means, like I said in my other video, that he was the one who was doing the things in the first term.
Okay.
Which is not true.
Perhaps are we headed to a political defined by hate, revenge, and or maybe betrayal?
Well, that has been there since 1963. Politics of betrayal, of hate, has always been there. But I wanted us to walk out of this as Kenyans. And that's why I keep repeating I support BBI. It was an attempt to handle those things of betrayal and of raw tribalism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there was a quote I took from someone, a Kenyan. He was saying success and failure of political grounds are based on a Kingmaker desire, and once they fall out of favor, you lose. Is that what's happening to Ruto right now?
So,
that he's falling out of favor of the Kingmaker and he's going to lose the general election?
I think to a large extent, yes, it is true. Because I have said this repeatedly. We live in a country where the president has a lot of sway.
Okay.
The king has a lot of sway. Okay?
The Kingmaker.
And the Kingmaker can be ignored.
Okay.
As in many other places. You make a king and you are ignored. Actually, if you look at all those books you read about power, people always destroy the people who make them. It happens even in North Korea.
Okay.
All the people who made that young man head of North Korea. And here he has dealt with them. In one way or the other. People don't want to see the people who make them. They deal with them. They make you irrelevant. They finish you. Yeah.
Okay.
Even Moi had to deal with Njonjo.
Okay.
At some point.
Okay, now as we come to an end, how different would it have been for Ruto in the upcoming election if he was submissive to the president? And how would it have affected Raila?
It does not matter how submissive Ruto would have been. It does not matter how much he accepted the handshake. The end game will be the same. They will not support him.
But you know,
however, he would have been inside to beat them at their own game at some point. Pretend you are going with them, be inside, learn everything, prove to yourself that you are right in suspecting they have no space for you, let them get 2022, and then certainly after an election there's always fallout. Because people have expectations that are not met.
Okay.
The disgruntled elements, as soon as Raila becomes president and forms government, there will be many disgruntled elements. Harness all those into a corner and face Uhuru and Raila in 2027, and you could have a chance. But he has destroyed his energies, revealed his tactics, revealed himself by trying to go for 2022, which is not there.
But it would have been very difficult for Uhuru to endorse someone else if he was submissive.
If he was submissive,
yeah.
He would have endorsed him.
Yeah, no, yeah.
It would have been Ruto.
I'm saying it would have been very difficult for Uhuru to endorse someone else.
Yes.
If Ruto was submissive.
No. Moi endorsed other people. He endorsed Uhuru instead of Saitoti.
Okay.
Na akasema rafiki Saitoti ni rafiki yangu, lakini uongozi na urafiki ni tofauti.
Okay.
So Uhuru had something to learn from. He would just have told Ruto, you are young, my friend William, let's give this old man a chance first. He would just have said it. Yeah. Okay. Because it was never Uhuru's intention to be succeeded by Ruto. It has never been in Uhuru's thinking, unless I'm wrong, that Ruto should be president of this country. So he would have appeared meek, submissive, incapable of putting up a fight, but while learning from inside, looking at the weaknesses, then strike in 2027.
Well, I think with that we'll have to wrap up the conversation at that. Well, thank you very much for joining us here at Professor Herman Manyora. My name is Simon Irungu, always coming in with the big question. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. And go ahead, share the conversation that we are having here with your friends. Keep sharing, keep liking, keep commenting. Well, the floor is now yours. You go ahead and comment. Tell us what you think of the political heat currently. Thank you.